Going to continue with Venus-Jupiter conjunction for the ascendant. So let's start that. Okay. I just wanted to just point out also with this, I do have a video about this. So if in a situation where Jupiter is very strong in your chart and it's quite close to the other benefic planets, so Jupiter, Venus, Mercury, and Moon, preferably strong Moon, are together in or they're in houses in trichomes or angles. Second house has got to be involved, and Jupiter's got to be strong. So Jupiter's got to be either exalted or in own sign, and this will create something called the Saraswati Yoga. So it's all about knowledge, wisdom, grace. I've got a video, so I'll put that underneath for you as well. You can check that in your D9 too. It doesn't have to be necessarily in your D1. And it can also occur in D10, where, it could give like very, very good musical, poetry and literature, that kind of thing, capabilities. Anyway, so on with Jupiter, Venus. So in the skies earlier this year, we had that occurring. So neither Venus or Jupiter were strong then. So I guess Venus will be in a better situation because it's actually between, it's in friendly sign, but you can see that they were actually hemmed between Sun and Mars. So it wasn't as strong. So basically, for Aries ascendant. So Aries ascendant will be a situation where Venus, obviously very strong planet, is second and seventh house ruler, rules an angle, so it's a very important planet, and Jupiter rules a trine. So the two of them together come in, in conjunction. As long as it's not in the sixth house, it creates a lovely Raja Yoga and Dana Yoga of money too, money and wealth. And for having also, because it's second house and ninth house ruler together, that creates a Dana Yoga. And 12th house ruler doesn't take anything away from it. So this is going to be pretty strong. It's going to be amazing if it falls into, for example, in Cancer, even Leo will be good if it falls in Sagittarius or Pisces. Pisces will be amazing because both Venus and Jupiter will be strong there. But it's better if they're kind of a little bit further apart from each other. This is pretty good degrees between them, actually. So for next ascendant, sorry, I just messed that up. Okay, here we are. So for Taurus ascendant, this is nice. Look at that. We've got like an exalted moon as well on the ascendant. So, but obviously I'm not talking about for Taurus ascendant, 8th and 11th house ruler Jupiter will be with first and sixth house ruler. So immediately that there's going to be a problem because sixth house ruler is there. And the yogas formed are not going to be so successful because obviously first and 11th house ruler would be to do with money. But they will have the money, they will have the wealth, but they have to go through a series of debts, obstacles, just to learn to troubleshoot, manage life better, just be much more because when you... what happens is sixth house is managing yourself. The more they manage themselves and their choices, because Taurus ascendant can be own first house ruler, sixth house ruler, they can be their own worst enemy. They're much more into looking after other people because their 12th house of natural zodiac is the 11th house. So they always want to be there for other people. So yeah, the moment that they actually learn this situation, that will help them. And and I guess the good houses for them would be 11th house, Venus and Jupiter, and obviously if it is in Cancer or in Sagittarius. However, I've got to say Sagittarius, 8th house Venus is not great, but just for the sheer fact that sixth house is involved, it will just be better later in second half of life. Things much improve. Okay, so next ascendant is for Gemini ascendant. For Gemini ascendant, this Venus is a very important planet. It rules 5th house, nice trinal, also rules 12th house. 12th house is impressionable, so it doesn't actually break any yogas. And for them, Jupiter will be a really good sign, house lord as well, 4th and 7th house ruler. So together, this combination creates very successful Raja yogas, as long as obviously it doesn't fall into Scorpio, their 6th house. Fantastic. So it could be literally they could 4th and 5th house ruler together. They bring wonderful situation where it's like creates happy family and children, and 7th house ruler and 5th house ruler as well. So it's very, very lovely in terms of family and happiness and education, you know, investment in the family. Very nice. For Cancer ascendant, this is Jupiter and Venus. Jupiter rules for them 6th and 9th house, and Venus rules obviously 4th and 11th house. And Jupiter is going to break the yogas here. It does create Raj yogas then again, but they will be better as time goes by, because it's Upachaya house, 6th house. Things get better as they go on. If it's on the ascendant though, Jupiter will have directional strength too, which is really nice for them. And also it will be nice if it's in the 4th house where Venus is strong. But obviously Pisces will be good too, but it is one that gives you that results as it gets later on. You know, you've got to go through some obstacles first. For Leo ascendant, 3rd and 10th house ruler Venus, and also Jupiter rules for them 5th and 8th house. So this is going to be pretty amazing. 5th house ruler with 10th house ruler. So it's going to give very successful, creative job, career. You know, when you have 5th house ruler with 10th house ruler, it's going to be pretty amazing, highly creative, very artistic, very skilled person, because it will just like house of skills is 3rd house speech. They could be inspiring people with their speech, with their advisory. I think 5th house is advise. So in that sense, they could be great teachers. If they're working with younger people, it will be amazing. This will be great if it doesn't happen. If it doesn't happen in Sagittarius, because Jupiter will then be in own sign, but it actually damages, because karaka of, got a little fly here, karaka of children in the 5th house in own, you know, in the 5th house will not be good. But yeah, it'll be great in the 1st house, because Jupiter will have directional strength. In the 4th house, Scorpio, but Jupiter will be strong. Venus will have directional strength. If it happens, like for even in the 8th house, Jupiter will be strong and Venus will be exalted. And so yeah, so there's grace in some of it, definitely. And if it happens in the 10th house, will be pretty outstanding for career, really. So Venus will be in own sign. Right, next ascendant for Virgo ascendant. So this was going to be like 4th and 7th house ruler Jupiter, and Venus rules 2nd and 9th house. So you know already that Venus is going to control money. 2nd house ruler, house Dunstan, and 9th house is a trinal house. So on its own, it's going to create. So actually being, once they get married, once they buy a home, once they're with somebody, relationship house kind of gets activated. Money comes in literally through, and they will travel. They'll be able to, you know, create quite a lot of wealth, happy family, happy relationship, as long as it doesn't go in Aquarius 6th house. And or being, I guess I got to also say, or be aspected by the 6th house lord. Okay, so for Libra ascendant, if Jupiter is with Venus, this is going to cause issues, because Jupiter rules 3rd and 6th house, so it rules Upachaya houses, which get better with time. So this will give you fruits later in life, rather than, so you could be doing a lot of work, putting a lot of effort into, but see very little results. So because brings 3rd and 6th house ruler with 1st and 8th house, but through some difficulties though, they can actually then bring in quite a lot of wealth in time. And obviously you know, Jupiter is own signs will be good for Jupiter, and Cancer will be a good one for him, because Jupiter will be like quite do service job and look after, like they could be in looking after children, mothers, you know, nursing, that kind of jobs. So will be good. Okay, next ascendant, Scorpio ascendant. So second and fifth house ruler and seventh and 12th house ruler Venus together. Very nice in the sense that 12th house doesn't break anything, any yogas, brings a trinal lord and angle lord together. So it creates nice Raja yoga, but Jupiter on its own creates money anyway, second and fifth house ruler. So relationship, once they're in a relationship, children and money and values and choices, they probably make really good choices about who they want to be with, to just see the longer term thing. They probably will be very good at spending money as well, bring second and 12th house ruler too, but they want to spend it on their children, on education, on having fun, travel, things like that, and spouse. And as long as it doesn't go into the 6th house Aries, it should be absolutely fine. And but obviously some houses are better than others, so you'll be good in Sagittarius. Pisces will be good, but obviously Jupiter is a karaka of children, so that could be a little bit difficult. Great in Cancer, good in Leo, and also pretty good in Taurus too. They will be highly into the material gain though if it was in Taurus, hugely. And obviously not very good if Venus is debilitated in Virgo. So next one will be Sagittarius ascendant. So for Sagittarius ascendant, you have Venus rule in 6th and 11th house, so it's the yoga breaker. But both houses that's Venus rules, they're both Upachaya houses, get better with time. And 1st and 4th house ruler, which is Jupiter. So Jupiter is a good planet, rules an angle and a trinal house. There will be some difficulties, so you know that family, there could be discord growing up, there could be issues with debt, health, that kind of thing. And groups of friends, they could have issues with that, could have issues with mom, car issues, things like that. But it does get better with time, and 1st and the 11th house ruler will be together, so that creates a nice done yoga. And something that through service and just doing the right things, get managing themselves better, they can actually create and manifest much more for themselves. For Capricorn ascendant, Jupiter is not a good planet, rules 3rd and 12th house. And Venus is yoga karaka planet, so it's fantastic in that sense. And so you know that these people are not going to be great at communicating 3rd and 12th house Jupiter. But if it goes in a sign where Jupiter is strong, for example, if they go into the 7th house, Jupiter will be exalted and also brings a trinal lord, 5th house ruler Taurus, Venus, going into there as well. So that will create massive, help for that as well. And you know that their job could be like they could be traveling quite a lot, because the 12th house being, they could be like a musician or something creative and have to travel with that. And for Aquarius ascendant, 2nd and 11th house ruler, planet that rules the money houses, Jupiter, is with yoga karaka planet 4th and the 10th house. So what this does is creates lots of money, really, because Jupiter, wherever, as long as Jupiter is strong, they're going to earn quite a lot of money. If they're in the 2nd house, Venus strong, Jupiter is strong. In the 1st house, Jupiter has got directional strength. In the 4th house, Venus is in own sign, has got directional strength. As long as it's not in Cancer, it should be good, because we don't want it to be connected to the 6th house or 6th lord. So yeah, and so if it goes into the 9th house, Venus is in own sign. If it goes into the 11th house, Jupiter is own sign. So it has many ways of doing pretty well for them. And then last one will be Pisces ascendant. So if Jupiter and Venus is 3rd and 8th house ruler, not greatest houses, but Jupiter rules 10th and 1st house. So you know this person's house. This person can talk esoteric, can't get the words out, esoteric things, talk about astrology, talk about learning things that are a little bit more secretive, codes, maybe breaking codes. There could also be like working in research, and also things that could be very much like psychology, psychotherapy, self-help stuff, healing. And they could put a lot of effort into learning things, researching things which are good for themselves and their job. As long as it doesn't go into Leo, it should be good. Obviously, or have any connections with the sixth house ruler. In the fifth house will be house of intelligence. Jupiter will be exalted, and Venus will be brings out the creativity of Venus even more. So that will be pretty good. If it goes obviously in the 10th house, that will be Jupiter will be strong. The job will be much more Venusian, if you like, to do with spas, travel, even teaching, that kind of stuff. And in certain houses, like Libra, Venus will be strong, and that will be the 8th house. So Jupiter will not be very strong in that house, but so in the first house both of them will be strong, and Jupiter will have directional strength. So that's it from me. Thank you very much for joining me. I'll see you soon. Thank you.